For this presentation discussing the sustainability of an educational tool, I have decided to discuss my iPod Touch. Over the years, I have experimented with all generations of iPod, and I have now settled on the latest generation. In many views, this is old technology that is outdated and rarely used. While it does have many similar functions to an iPhone, I use this purely as a music player. I do not use this device for communication or use of any sort of applications. By keeping this simply as my music player, it does the job in terms of use for music classes, rehearsals, and even performances. In recent years, many companies have made, or at least claim to have made, a significant push towards conserving the environment. It's no secret that many of the materials that go into our devices are the results of mining and digging into the earth for many priceless materials. Since antiquity, the business of mining has only been profitable because it does not have to account for its true costs, including environmental damage, the illness and death of miners, and the loss to the communities it displaces. A quote from Kate Crawford. In her book, Atlas of AI, and specifically in the first chapter entitled Earth, Crawford draws some very chilling conclusions about where the world is going in terms of sustainability, mining, and the negative impacts on the environment. But what does Apple have to say about this? After careful examination and analysis of the Apple Environmental Progress Report, the iPod Touch Environmental Report, and other available sources, there is no available information regarding the location where the iPod's materials are mined from. There is also no specific information available about the industrial costs of obtaining these materials. According to the Apple Environmental Progress Report from this year, they are working with third-party audit programs at an industry-wide level to identify environmental and social and governance risks at the smelter, refiner, and mining levels. Apple also claims to facilitate third-party audits on other materials as well, and claim that they are working to build supply chains for recycled materials. Apple has taken great care to analyze the energy consumption of the iPod Touch. According to their environmental report, most of Apple's corporate greenhouse gas emissions come from the production, transport, use, and recycling of its products. Apple seeks to minimize greenhouse gas emissions by setting stringent design-related goals for material and energy efficiency. According to their environmental report, the iPod Touch uses power-efficient components and software that intelligently manages power consumption. In addition, the Apple USB power adapter outperforms the stringent requirements of the Energy Star specification for external power supplies. In terms of the iPod Touch specifically, Apple claims that their designs are industry-leading in terms of material efficiency. According to Apple, reducing the material footprint of a product helps maximize shipping efficiency. It also helps reduce energy consumed during production and material waste generated at end of life. As you can see from the graph, there is more stainless steel in the iPod Touch than any other component. Stainless steel is widely considered to be very safe to humans and the environment. However, when we examine the 15-gram lithium battery, a slightly different picture is being drawn. According to Kate Crawford, the mining, smelting, export, assemblage, and transport of the battery supply chain has a significant negative impact on the environment and, in turn, on the communities affected by its degradation. She goes on to state that all of these batteries have a limited lifespan. Once degraded, they are discarded as waste. As a society, we have become dependent on these batteries as a significant power source. Over the years, Apple has made strides to reduce their carbon footprint. One of the biggest transitions they have made over the years is to incorporate more recycled cobalt into their products. According to science journalist Bianca Nogrady, an avenue being explored to reduce adverse impacts of cobalt extraction is improved recycling, which would reduce the need for mining in the first place. She goes on to discuss an initiative by the British called Reuse and Recycling of Lithium-Ion Batteries, or ReLib. She then goes on to mention a Japanese company called Sumitomo Metal Mining, a company that was working on extraction of cobalt from batteries. According to Apple VP of Environment, Policy, and Social Initiatives Lisa Jackson, the iPhone 15 lineup, Apple Watch Series 9, and Apple Watch Ultra 2 use 100% recycled cobalt in their batteries. In their Environmental Progress Report, Apple claims that they will transition to 100% recycled cobalt by 2025. According to reporter Steve Lohr, enormous efficiency improvements have allowed computing output to increase sharply while power consumption has been essentially flat. When this current iPod Touch was purchased in 2019, it was at a cost of about $360 Canadian. After careful examination of both the Apple Environmental Progress Report and the iPod Touch Environmental Report, there is no mention of cost of any of the materials or assembly of this product. The world has come to a new point where our phones are now our primary music players. While this cuts down on energy usage because people are using just one device, it's also on the way to becoming more sustainable as companies, such as Apple, are constantly looking for new ways to become more energy efficient and more sustainable. In my own personal practices, I will continue to use my old iPod Touch as it still currently works. In the future, something else may come along, and I look forward to engaging in the next phase of sustainable technology.